Hi folks, happy Saturday. I hope you are doing well and having a great weekend so far. Earlier today, I was browsing through Reddit and I came across this video clip. Instantly, I want to share it with you guys because I knew this type of contents are usually not promoted on mainstream media sites sponsored by Chinese government, and I know it's up to people like myself to actually spread it and give some background information analysis on it. That's why I'm gonna do this reaction video. I'm gonna play it first and then provide some of my thoughts. So here we go.
今天我们来做下实验，这是我们一线工人的保险帽，这个是领导的保险帽，看哪一个这是？哎呀，一下都不成哈！还有500这样没有啊？这就是一线工人的保险帽，这是领导的保险帽啊。不过监理的帽子更结实，最结实就是监理的帽子，又轻快又结实。我们一线工人的保险帽就这样的效果。
All right, that's it. It was pretty short. And as you can see, this guy has been just smiling all along and he appeared to be a pretty positive guy. Quite frankly, this is not the first time I watched his content. I came across his channel on WeChat before. So there's a feature called channel on WeChat. It's kind of like embedded TikTok. You can just scroll through different short video clips. And I've seen his videos just talking about what it's like to be a construction worker in China. And I do give WeChat and Chinese media's credits because they do allow contents like this, but it's just like they're not the most popular ones, even though these people represent the majority or at least a huge chunk of the Chinese population. And you don't really hear a lot from these people. You might think they are only a smaller portion, but no, actually, even Li Keqiang himself said more than 600 million people in China live under 1,000 RMB. That's like $250 per month. And that's why these people are great representation, are real representation of what lower middle class Chinese look like. And quite frankly, in China, the structure of the society is more so like a pyramid, with the bottom being the majority and middle class being maybe slightly more, and the tippy top tiny bit of rich people on the top, on the point. So these people are what actual Chinese look like. And they don't get to speak a whole lot because, first of all, they're not as educated. Most of them never went to high school, never even finished middle school, and let alone college. So they aren't necessarily articulate, and some of them don't know how to use social media. And this person, he seems pretty smart. He's like those street smart guys, and he seems to have his own independent thoughts, and I really like him because he showed true wisdom. I think a lot of people mistaken wisdom with intelligence, and just because you have book smart intelligence doesn't mean you have wisdom. But this dude definitely has wisdom, and there are a lot of lower class Chinese people that are just like him. They have a lot of talent and they have a lot of wisdom, but they just never have chances in life because of how little the social mobility is in China. That's why this type of content is really valuable. And I don't know how long this guy will be able to keep his channel and his account, because if you don't have a lot of following, maybe you have more freedom, and as more and more attention has been drawn to you, that's when the online police jumps in, the national security people jumps in and start moderating the comments and closing up accounts, censoring people, and even inviting them for tea at the police station so they can be finally shut up. And I just want to be the person that actually provides some context to this type of content. And I know a lot of relatives that are just like him. My family has never been rich. We came from a lower middle class background. Honestly, before the age of 14, I didn't even know what paved floor felt like. We have always lived in a super tiny ass apartment of maybe 50 square feet, 50 square meters. And with all my parents and my grandma, my sick grandma living with us, all 4 people crammed into this 1 bedroom, not even 1 bathroom apartment, because we didn't have our own bathroom at the time. We had to use a communal bathroom. And I have always been just dreaming about what wooden floor felt like since I was young, and I would step on the cement floor, pretending that I was stepping on those smooth marble or wooden floor. And by the time I finished my fantasy, my feet would be covered in dirt and mud, but I was happy. Thankfully, I do have a really loving nuclear family, and my family were super hardworking, and we were able to become middle class later. And I will give China credits, because since the late 90s and all the way to maybe 2010, there was extent of social mobility in China, and then you could accomplish that through really hard work. But that's not on the scale that you can see in a lot of the developed nations, such as the US and Western Europe. But now that disparity between the poor and the rich are getting bigger and bigger, and then the social mobility potentials are getting smaller and smaller. And that's the problem that we have right now, because now the hukou system is limiting people even more. Hukou is basically the residence registration that you get when you were born, and you only get the hukou for the city or province that you were born, unless you are a remarkable scientist to a national level, or you're extremely rich, or maybe you marry somebody. You like move your hukou to a bigger city or better province. But for the overwhelming majority of these lower class Chinese, this is their life forever. And so is their kids' life forever. There's very little chance for these people to make it in life. And I know so many relatives who are working exact same menial jobs: construction workers, housekeepers, truck drivers, and farmers. I mean, both of my grandparents used to be farmers when they were alive, and they lived a really humble life. And a lot of my relatives, they were doing labor work their whole life, but they make very little. They don't even get to have a retirement fund. And in China, you don't get free healthcare, especially for rural residents. So you can see a lot of self-deletion of the older population in rural China, and nobody's talking about that. The fancy little red book, 小红书, upper class Chinese are never going to talk about that, because it doesn't affect them. I mean, sometimes I wonder, why do I keep this channel? What's the point? And this is the point, because people who look like me, who have the language ability such as me, are usually unwilling to speak about these type of things to the Western audience. And I think it's pretty much that saying, 屁股决定脑袋, where you stand decides what you see, because a lot of these Western educated Chinese who can speak perfect English, who enjoys all the freedom of speech and all the rights, they were heavily connected with the ruling party, and they benefited from the current system, and they don't see it, maybe partially because they were sheltered, but secondly, they don't actively seek out because it's unnecessary. That's also another detrimental nature of the Chinese that I've observed since a younger age. When I was in high school, I was severely bullied by this one teacher, and yet nobody else in the class, they knew what was happening, and some of them even secretly told me that they thought it was wrong, but nobody else would be willing to stand up and speak for me. Nobody, not a single person, because even though they knew it's messed up, I was bullied so much, humiliated in front of everyone, and I was being singled out by this teacher in front of everyone. But it was because it didn't affect them. And because my family was not as wealthy as my fellow classmates, that teacher just targeted at me. And because it didn't affect my classmates, they just didn't see the need to speak for me or even sympathize with me, what's the point? I mean, the teacher was never going to target at them because they were rich, so why bother? What's the point? And it's that lack of empathy, sympathy that drives me insane. But I'm not like that. And that's why, if that's what China really is about, then I don't identify as Chinese, because I think where you were born, your nationality is such, and your race are such overrated features. You didn't earn any of that. You didn't choose where you were born. You didn't choose what color of skin you have, but you do choose what kind of people you are becoming. And you do choose what group of people that you speak for, that you stand for. And that decides who you are. And that is something that you're supposed to take pride in. And that's why I really find it hilarious when these trolls that are trying to guilt trip me by saying you are a traitor when you talk shit about your homeland. How about I never chose which land I was born in, and I get to choose where I can find the most freedom, and that's where I call home. Now everyone falls into the guilt trip trap, the gaslighting trap, like a lot of the Chinese people overseas. I quite frankly, I think the reason why so many Chinese people don't dare to speak up is because of this type of gaslighting. If you speak up for on behalf of people that you think are disadvantaged, and yet it showed a less glamorous side of China, which is supposed to be your homeland, then you are a traitor. No, it doesn't make you a traitor. It makes you somebody that's more compassionate, that's a better person in nature. And that's why I'm gonna keep talking about this type of stuff. And this is the point of me having this channel. You're not gonna see these CCP shills ever speaking on behalf of these people. All they see is these fancy first tier lavish lifestyles, and all these Chinese people who appear to be nothing but happy in life, and they're not going to pay attention to the sorrows and the cause of these everyday lower class Chinese people's sorrows, and go after the cause and just dive even deeper. No, it's not going to benefit them, so that's why they're not going to talk about that. And so are these Western educated Chinese people who come from upper class Chinese families, or straight up 赵家人. 赵家人means they are very, very connected to the central government, and they're not going to openly speak on these stuff because 屁股决定脑袋. Where they sit decides what they see and what they think. Please let me know what you think about this clip, and if there's anything you'd like to add, please all leave in the comment section below. I look forward to reading them and maybe having a chat with you guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.